Nationals. We work a lot with them on events and promotions, and I've been lucky. I've had 4 different champions in the 4 years I've been there, and I love that part of my job of getting to work with them and getting to know them and seeing what they're willing to do and what they're not, and what things kind of make them tick. And it's been a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to working with David Gravel next year to celebrate his championship.
My real job on a day-to-day basis is talking about workforce development. And what you just kind of discussed is the way you I do want to go back and mention you graduated from Ashland University with your marketing degree, right?
Yeah, not in marketing, journalism, communications, and English.
Okay, sorry.
Ashland, yes.
So
yeah, it's funny because I do more marketing now than probably anything else. But no, my degree was not in marketing.
Right, I have a music degree, and I probably do more, marketing and presentations now than I ever dreamed I would. But that winding road. If you're talking to a 15-year-old or a 16-year-old who is very passionate about whether it's sprint cars or if it's football or another sport or music or something that they want to find a way they can create a career in, what's your best advice there?
It's really finding, I think, what makes you motivated. Because, you don't want to get in any job and say, well, I'm just doing this to collect a paycheck. I think that's like the definition of misery. So for me, it's like I had been exposed to racing the whole time as the daughter of a driver, and I was in the pit area the whole time. It took that kart race in Cleveland for me to be exposed to all of the different jobs behind the scenes that make that event happen. That's what made me suddenly motivated, if that makes sense. That's what gave me, okay, this is my purpose and my plan. And I think in any career that anyone goes into, you have to find that. It's what's going to make you good at your job. If you're just going in there and clocking in and clocking out and getting a paycheck, you're going to reach your probably minimum potential. But if you find that thing that really makes you tick and the thing you think about when you can't sleep at 5 a.m., that's what's going to motivate you to be really, really successful at what you do. And I think everybody should be so blessed to find that and have the opportunity to take risks to find that.
And that's been fascinating for me to learn. I saw you on Wing Nation and now where you are. And I remember seeing an interview with you several years ago where you said one of our goals was to sell out the Knoxville Nationals, if I remember that correctly. Mm-hmm. And I believe that has occurred multiple years now. Is that correct?
Yes. So 2 years now we've sold out the Nationals, which was definitely our number one goal is let's get this race sold out and show people what we're all about. Like show people how amazing this race or this racetrack and event is. And we've done that. This year we were sold out by about 6 o'clock, and next year's the 60th annual Knoxville Nationals, and I expect it to get sold out even sooner. Lots and lots and lots of international fans come in when it's a quote unquote anniversary event. So the interest level is extremely high for next year. I see tickets selling out much quicker. Our next goal, people are like, so are you going to build an add-on bleachers? And no, we have no interest in adding seats. I think one of the depths of selling out is adding more seats. And one of the ways you make an event popular is supply and demand. And if people know this event sells out, they buy tickets sooner and it becomes a must-see event. If you add bleachers, then it's not selling out. And it's like, okay, well, we'll just get our tickets again when we get there. And the hype is gone. And I love that there's this hype of on December 2nd at 12:01 a.m., I'm getting online to get my tickets. And there's this dire urgency now, which I love to see. And, my goal is not to add more seats and add more people. My goal now is to try to get Friday closer to a sellout. And then if that ever happens, which I would be so amazed and happy, if that ever happens, now I want to get Thursday and Wednesday closer to a sellout. So those are things we really work on for the 410 Nationals, is how to create this urgency and this desire and need to be there. And another big event for us is the Lucas Oil Late Model Nationals in September. That's even though we are, quote unquote, the sprint car capital of the world, the Late Model Nationals is our second highest attended event of the year. And that event has so much potential. And I can see us getting, 5,000-6,000 more fans if we can get the right pieces in the puzzle put together. I think there's some things working against us for that event, but it's things we're working on and we're always looking at and how to make changes and improve it. And that event is sticking with me as a major opportunity to be better.
This year at the Knoxville Nationals, David Gravel had big corporate Exalta sponsor come on board. How important do you think it was that, there was so much excitement and so much hype about the Knoxville Nationals that maybe lured them into sponsoring for that event, and maybe, the Knoxville Nationals plays a part in getting more corporate sponsors involved in sprint car racing again?
Well, I think something we've seen is just how much more interest there is in what I would call, the big motorsports series like IndyCar and NASCAR. The interest level in what's going on in sprint car racing has extremely increased, not just from sponsors, but from executives, teams, drivers, fans. And I think we owe the vast majority of that to people like Kyle Larson, Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, Casey Kane. When those guys use their platform to talk about how amazing sprint car racing is, or a certain event like the Knoxville Nationals is, that is something that we can't go out and buy. And they're sitting there doing it just for their love of the sport. That has opened up the eyes of a lot of people. I mean, you look at some of our sponsors at Knoxville, and they've come on board because of their NASCAR partners, and they've looked at what we've done and said, we need to be there. We're in this NASCAR world, but we need to get back into grassroots world and get these people, these salt-of-the-earth race fans, on board with us, and not just the NASCAR, IndyCar super fans. So I've seen a lot of that momentum and a lot of that shifting. I think Jeff bringing Exalta on this year was really, really big and important for our sport. It obviously helps that they won in their first time ever on a car. So, how can they ever top that, right? But they saw the passion of race fans, and they saw that kind of go viral. And I was impressed. I don't get a lot of time during the Nationals to read the internet or social media or what coverage we're getting. So I kind of do that in the days after the event. And NASCAR.com had an article about the Knoxville Nationals every day. And that kind of crossover is something that I hope to see more of. I am greatly, greatly thankful for their support of dirt track racing. I hope they feel that dirt track racing supports them back. And I think that those are the kind of partnerships we need to see more of.
That win this year got a mention on ESPN SportsCenter top 10.
Crazy. I mean, that was probably the news piece that I was the most excited about. Like, the PR geek side of me really came out. We got number 10 in the top 10, which look, dude, I'll take it. If we were 10.5, right. I'd be so disappointed. But we got 10. And, a lot of the focus on David winning, but also on Logan Schuchart's crazy impressive run to a runner-up finish. And it's really cool. I think I was excited for Knoxville, but I was more excited for those guys. They're young, and to get this big plug on ESPN, a network they've probably been watching since they were kids, I mean, that's just so cool. And I hope to give, or to somehow give those kind of experiences or that kind of coverage to more of these drivers that definitely deserve it.
One of the things that I am very passionate about sprint car racing is I watched the Twitter exchange that David Gravel had when that came out, and finally found video of it, posted it, and I was watching that unfold, and I was thinking, these guys love this. This is how much they love their sport. They're genuinely so excited that they're getting this exposure, not just for themselves, but for the event and for the sport. And that's amazing to watch. It's amazing to be a fan of, too. So.
It is. I mean, these guys, and there's good things about social media, and there's bad things about social media.
Right.
But I think, truthfully, they're finding ways to utilize those platforms to reach more people. And the more people they reach and the more people they connect with, the more people we're going to see in those grandstands. So their passion is what we're all seeing, and now it's getting exposed to so many more people. And I love to see the drivers take it upon themselves to reach out to fans and to get out there and engage with these race fans that really are what make this sport happen. I wish more of them would do it, but the ones that are doing it so well. I don't think they realize the influence they're having on our fans, and especially our young fans.
What does a typical race week at Knoxville look like for you, Kendra?
So basically it's just getting anything turned over. So all of the signage from the last race that comes down. Each of our weekends, even our small like Saturday weekly shows, have sponsors. So the last sponsors come down, the new sponsor signage goes up. I work with whoever that sponsor is that week quite a bit going into their race week about their announcements and videos they want us to show and social media posts and any kind of offers they have that they want us to get out there. Then it's, making sure the sponsor suites are all cleaned up and ready to go. And, the property itself is all cleaned up and ready to go. Is anyone using any of our hospitality buildings? I'm trying to think of everything that we just kind of go into that week. Are the trophies there and ready? Are the announcements ready? Are the video, we are lucky to have 2 giant impact signs video boards. So is all the content for the video boards ready? Have you talked to your pay-per-view programming? Is everything ready on that end? So you do all of this each week, but we work on the NOS Energy Drink Knoxville Nationals all year. So every day of each race week is also somewhat focused on that event too. So you kind of got to juggle a regular weekly show with the setup and planning for your biggest show of the year. So all of that goes on each week, and there are some weeks that are bigger and more detailed depending on your sponsor. And there are some weeks that I call super easy weeks, and those give me more time to concentrate on our bigger events. So each week is different. Each day is different, which I love about my job. But it's 100% focused, especially my job is 100% focused on the fan experience. And if the sponsors are happy, they'll keep coming back. And if the sponsors keep coming back, then that gives us the additional income to keep doing fan-focused events and specials and promotions, which is my absolute favorite part of my job. And that's the kind of stuff that I really enjoy working on each week is, okay, what can I do this week to make this Saturday more fun than last Saturday? What can I do to get the fans even more engaged and excited to be here? So I'm always challenging myself to come up with new ideas. But again, when I look at my job, that's probably my favorite part of it.
So I do want to say for you right here that even though you talk about taking signage down, you're going to reuse that signage again. So please don't think just because it's coming down means it's going in the trash. It's paid for by a sponsor, for a sponsor, and they're going to reuse it. So fans, just remember that. I'll say it for you. And on the other side of that, one of the things that I have been fascinated by with the Knoxville Nationals and some of the events are, you got a 5K, you got a cornhole tournament, you're juggling concerts and interview sessions and autograph sessions. How many people does it take to make all of those things happen across the week? And because you can only be in one place at one time, what's the team like to make all that go down?
Yeah, for the 410 Nationals, my department alone doubles in size, thankfully, because it might not be a lot of difficult work, but it's definitely we need more hands. And we have to get, somebody in each location and make sure that everybody's where they need to be to just execute the events that we have planned. The staff at the track, I believe the last time we talked, it increases to around 350 people that week. It's a lot. It's a lot from security to concessions to officials to the marketing and PR department to ticket sellers. It is a lot of people to go into making a 4-day event happen. And I am thankful for each and every one of those people.
So you mentioned before you come back to Ohio after Knoxville's done racing for the year.